Today's episode is the biggest mistakes people make when they try to manifest. Hello and welcome to the Successful, Sensitive and Intuitive Entrepreneur podcast. My name is Lydia Sophia Wilmsen and I am an intuitive success mentor for sensitive entrepreneurs. In this podcast, I speak about the challenges sensitive and intuitive entrepreneurs face. I offer you new perspectives and solutions, as well as experiences of other entrepreneurs. Plus, I speak about my personal experience of being a highly sensitive person who has successfully built and scaled 2 businesses. All of that with the goal to make you and your business even more successful in your very unique and authentic way. Have fun and enjoy. I'm specifically speaking about the law of attraction movement today. So I'm going to give you specifics around why things might not be working for you. And first, I want to mention something that makes me super, super happy. And also something for all of you to take into account when you are moving along with your business and perhaps it's not going as fast as you want, and why it's important to keep going. Yesterday, I had a new client come into my life or into my business, so to say. And she is a woman who has been listening to all my podcast episodes, which is amazing because there are over 100 out there. And she's an amazing, amazing woman. I'm super excited to work with her. And 2 interesting things here for you. One thing is, I have been doing this podcast about a year now, a little bit more than a year, and it's definitely a niche topic. And it has been supporting my business in a beautiful way. However, this woman is the first woman who only came through my podcast. She didn't know all my other stuff. She didn't know me personally, nothing of that. She just came through my podcast. Like, my podcast now basically has brought my first client who, like, lead generation, so to say, just via my podcast. Usually people, like, it's a side thing. Usually people love my podcast, they listen to the stuff, but they also know me personally. Perhaps they are in my Facebook group, perhaps they have met me, they have listened to some stuff on Facebook, on LinkedIn, whatever, Usually they know my other content. They know a variety of my stuff. And what I want to tell you with that, consistency is key. I have been doing my podcast, even though it doesn't bring me continuous clients every month. My clients come, as I said, through different means or different channels. And of course, it could be that I could do something about the podcast, whatever. This is not the point. The point is the consistency. I have been doing my podcast because I love it. I love to talk to you guys and ladies. So it's amazing. Like, it brings me so much joy. I can just talk and whoever wants to listen, listens. And through being consistent in that and doing something I love and at the same time keeping it doing, and I really have to say a big thank you to my support here, which is Florian, who helps me with the whole podcast production. So if you ever need something like that, if you want to start your own podcast and you don't want to do the technical stuff and you also need some strategy advice, I can highly recommend him. I'm going to put the link to him in my show notes. So it's a great time today to appreciate him for all the amazing work, because this was a thing why I didn't want to start a podcast, by the way, because I didn't want to do all the cutting and all of that stuff that I had done by myself before. And now I have support. I don't have to do anything. I basically only speak into my little microphone and that's it. So if that has been keeping you from going that route, just get the support and let someone else do the stuff you don't like. So what I wanted to say, I have my first client just coming to me through the podcast. That means be consistent with what you love and don't expect things to happen in the first month, in the first week. It's not about the time. And I'm actually going into that more in the episode today. The first thing is consistency pays out. Always, always, always. When you do the things that you love, that's also super important. And the next thing is what I want to say. She hired me because she loved all the stuff I'm talking about in the podcast, and she's super successful. She is very busy. Like, she's one of those perfect matches for me, like a high achiever, has achieved so much and is very stressed, like has a very high workload, and now wants to find a way of doing it with more ease, more relief, more relaxation, all of that stuff. And she knows the tools because I talk about them freely here on the podcast. However, she keeps forgetting that stuff. And she I want to set a timer and then tune into my target energy. And then life happens, business happens, and you don't do it anymore. It's the same as if you hire a coach who helps you with some kind of nutritional stuff, with sports. Those people are there. We are there to support you when life gets busy, when perhaps you also start self-sabotaging. So she knows all the tools, but it's not about the information, it's about implementation. And for that, when you figure out, like either it's not going as fast as you wanted, or something is in your way, like you're self-sabotaging all the time, then it's really the right time to get support, to have someone who you are or you have to be accountable towards, and someone who knows what's going on and can coach you through that stuff. So this is the second thing of, it is not enough to just get the information. You really have to implement it, and then it works like wonders. My clients shift in 3 to 6 months. They're a different person, not only business-wise, also in personal lives. So that stuff works, and it works with everyone. Because the question is out there, like, what if I have like really traumatic childhood and all of that? Let's just talk about it, and then I can give you my personal advice, what I recommend you to do. Okay, that's the stuff I wanted to talk beforehand. And now about the topic of today's podcast, the biggest mistakes people make when they try to manifest. So there is, I don't want to go into the specifics of the LOA movement, of the law of attraction movement. The baseline is just feel good, just do like a little bit of visualization, some vision boards, all of that stuff. Just get like really clear on what you want. Then feel good, and then it's going to happen. That's like very, very shallow how I just explained it. But the basic message is more around positive thinking and getting into a positive vibe, so to say, which is very important. But a very important part is missing, and I'm going to speak about that. The thing that is missing, or the understanding is missing, that yes, it's so important to get into a better state. Like all my clients, they come with me with lots of stress, with lots of feelings of guilt, of shame, of demotivation, of frustration. So of course we have to shift them into a different state of being. But how easy that works for them, and also how they stay there in those vibes, then depend on how much you have worked through your negative emotions, your negative beliefs, your negative thought patterns. You can imagine someone who wants to run, like you have a goal and you want to run, like physically run towards that goal. You really want to get there. And you're a super fast runner. You would get there in no time. But now imagine either having someone or something holding you back, like grabbing you by the hands and holding you. And you try to run towards your goal. You will not move. You will move and run, or you will run on like that one spot you're standing on. You won't move forward. Or if you move forward, then you will move forward in a like very slow speed. And this is how you can imagine yourself with what happens if you're doing your best to get into a good vibe, in visualization, in like all of that stuff, but basically having someone holding you back. Or another powerful metaphor is the car. You are basically like hitting the gas pedal, and you could go and accelerate and drive like bam, you are there, But at the same time, you're also hitting the brakes. Yeah, so what happens? Of course, the car doesn't move. And you can do whatever you want to get into a high vibe, good feeling. If you have subconsciously like something holding you back, you won't move. And this is what we have to address. This is what we have to work through. And there are differences in people. There are some people for whom it's super easy. They have not a lot of baggage, and the baggage they have, it's easily removable with help, without help. And there are a lot of people, they don't even know what the baggage is. So how do you want to remove it if you don't even know what it is? Or there is like a high complexity of the baggage they are carrying. And that really takes a lot of identifying, a lot of disentangling to remove that stuff. And usually my recommendation is to do that with another person, because otherwise, imagine you having a backpack on your back, some cords, some stuff got really entangled, and you trying to get rid of that without even seeing what it is. Like, good luck to you. And then just have someone else come and help you with that stuff, who knows what's happening, can disentangle that, and then you can take off the backpack. That's always my first recommendation. So, if you just focus on feeling good, but you don't take care of the underlying garbage, of the underlying negative stuff, you will always run, put lots of effort in there, but not move, or just move at a very slow speed. And that's the biggest thing that's not being talked about frequently in the just feel good and happy vibes movement, so to say. It really needs both. And imagine if you have taken off all that baggage and then you run, you'll be fast, as a flash, like lightning. Of course. And you feel so different, because working through negative emotions just by pretending to feel better, or to I just want to feel a little bit better, but life is hard. It's exhausting. And if you just took everything away from you that actually makes you feel bad, all that old stuff, sometimes over decades, and usually with one powerful, strong root cause, if you just erase that, how easy life can become. And I have been there, I've gone through that. My life shows that, and the life of my clients show that, how easy life can get, which does not mean that no negative no unpreferred circumstances happen. No, but you have a very different way of approaching those then. You're in a different state of mind, in a different state of being. So that's the first thing I wanted to mention. The biggest mistake is to not simultaneously work on the negative emotions, beliefs, and thought patterns. On all three levels, by the way, on the emotional level, the mental level, and on the physical level. We trap trauma, we trap emotions, we trap old stories, limiting stories, negative beliefs, negative perspectives about life. We store them in our bodies. So we actually have to work on those on a physical level as well. That's point number one. What is another big mistake? Another big mistake is that people don't understand that they keep coming from a lack mindset. And I spoke about this, I think, in the previous episode. So go back to this one and understand that you might think you're actually coming from an abundance mindset perspective. You're actually being all abundant and stuff. And you're actually not. You're the opposite. You're in a big, deep lack mind, or caught in a big, deep web of lack mindset, so to say. And lack mindset, for example, is you doing all the work to get away from something. You want to get away from your current reality, and you want to get to your desired reality. This is what law of attraction, people who work with law of attraction usually want. Or you want a goal, you want a desire to manifest in your life. The big mistake people make is that they despise their current reality. They just want to get away from where they are right now to a better feeling place, and then doing all the visualization, doing all the journaling, while constantly hating their current reality and constantly looking and checking, oh, do I still have that? Oh yeah, shit. Or I have to keep feeling better. I have to tune more into my desires. A big shift for you will occur once you let go of the resistance against your present moment, against your current reality. And this is one of the biggest and most challenging thing to do for most people, for me included. For whatever happens in your life, you have to drop the resistance. This does not mean that you have to say, this is my preferred reality, this is what I want. But you have to get to a place of acceptance of what is. And from that place of acceptance, you can focus on your desired reality. And this brings me to another point, which is impatience. What I also people see doing very frequently is checking in again. Oh, I'm doing all the work. I have done 24 hours of being in meditation and visualization and being whatever. But now I quickly have to check my bank account. Is money coming in? Or I quickly have to check on Tinder or whatever. Has a person written me? Is my soulmate there already? Or has someone responded? Has the client said yes? I hear this so often in the beginning with my clients. It's so, no, it's not funny, but it's kind of funny and it's kind of not funny. The point I'm making here is whenever you feel the need to check in, if something has already manifested, coming from a place of impatience, coming from a place of almost hope, like, oh, I hope it is already there, and not coming from a place of just plain curiosity, you're working against what you're trying to manifest. And I usually don't like the word try. In this scenario, it actually fits. You're trying to manifest. And that means you're not doing it. Because you either do or you don't. And by the way, we are always manifesting, but usually people don't like what they've manifested, what they've created. So when you get into a place of impatience or into a place of, gosh, I really hate what I have right now, I want something else, those are two powerful ways of not creating the reality you want. Another one is, and with this lack mindset, what you basically do is, and also with the impatience, you focus on it not being there. And one powerful teaching of law of attraction is what you focus on expands. And if you keep refocusing on it's not there yet, it's not in my bank account, the relationship is not there, my reality sucks, I want to get away from this. Now let's focus again on what I want. But at the same time, I still really have this energy, this resentment, this frustration in me of what I currently have in my reality. Guess what? Your underlying focus or your plain focus is on what you don't have. So you create more of what you don't have. Make sure that you keep it in that way when you do that. The impatience thing or coming from a lack mindset place. And the last thing I want to mention, and there is obviously more, but you know that my podcast episodes are usually packed with information, so it's not that you need more. I really want you to focus on those 4 today. The 4th is effort. When you get into a place of hard work, of efforting, and we can do this with our mindsets as well. If you don't come from a place of wow, I love to journal today. Wow, I just love to, get a nice coffee, an ice cream, a smoothie, I don't know what, a glass of water, and sit outside in the sun or in the rain and just indulge in my imagination of my desired reality. And you just do it because you want it and because it makes you feel so good. And you rather do it in order to manifest that. It's this, this hard work and efforting feeling behind it of I have to do that to make it my reality. That's another way how you keep it away from you. Because there is no energy of relief. There is no energy of receiving and openness and allowing there. There is still an energy of I'm not okay with what I have right now. I want something else. And I have to work hard against basically what I have right now in order to get somewhere else. And there is, an energy of effort is the opposite of an energy of allowing and receiving, as I said in the last episode. And we don't only do this with hard work, I have to work another hour, another hour, another hour. We do this also with our mindset practices, with all the stuff we do for our mind, for our emotions, for our inner work. You can get into a hustle place when it comes to inner work. Hustling is not only those people out there who work 15 hours a day. Hustling also applies to people who force themselves to do inner work for hours nonstop. And when it comes to hustling, in both scenarios, it is always ask yourself, when you don't know if you want to do it or not, is it hustling or not? Ask yourself, would I do what I'm doing right now, even if I didn't get the outcome because I'm doing it right now? Do you understand what I mean? Ask yourself, are you doing it because of the preferred outcome, or are you doing it just for the fun of the activity itself? So in the morning, if you journal, do you do it because you now actually enjoy it and you get into a better feeling place when you do that? That's the whole purpose of it, by the way. Or when you work on your negative emotions, is it because you will feel better once you have dropped these? Or do you do that because you feel you have to, and you have to put more hours in there, and you have to do that to get somewhere? Do you do all of what you do because you enjoy doing it in that moment? The same with hard work. Do you actually enjoy working 15 hours? And would you still do it even if you didn't make a cent? You know, like you work 15 hours to bring in 10,000 euros a month, for example. Would you still do it if you brought in €0 through that? If you say yes, because I am alive, this lights me up. I don't actually care if I have time with my family. I don't care if, I'm like the negative consequences. And you say, YOLO, you only live once, I live now, and I want to work 20 hours a day. Okay, there might be some people out there. But most of the people, they do it because they want to achieve an outcome. And when you can seriously say, it's not because of the outcome, it is because I enjoy it so freaking much, then you're on the right track. As I said before, I did this podcast because I actually enjoy it very much. And it's not always that I enjoy it when I know I have to do it, but when I do it, that's also a very important differentiator. And I know that when I do that, when I start talking, then I freaking enjoy it. Like right now, talking to you, I love that. Sometimes when I know I still have to do that, otherwise I'm going to get a message from Florian, hence a little bit like, I still have to do that. But at the same time, I know once I'm doing it, I love it. And that's the same with the inner work. Sometimes there might be a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of I might have a little bit of discomfort. But at the same time, I know it will be amazing once I've done it or while I'm doing it. So don't mistake the initial, perhaps a little bit of feeling of discomfort with you don't want to do the activity itself. That is usually some form of self-sabotage or some form of wanting to stay in comfort. But the movement will bring you the real joy. Okay, so let me summarize today. The 4 ways I mentioned, the biggest mistakes people make when they try to manifest, and the 4 ways of how people do that is they don't work on their negative emotions, their negative beliefs, their negative thoughts and thought patterns. Extremely important, number 1 in my eyes. The second one, and then they are all the same basically from relevance. They come from a lack mindset and they don't even get this. They come from a lack mindset. They don't accept and love the heck out of their current reality. They come from a place, I want to get away from what I have right now. And that shifts the focus towards, I don't have what I want. And this creates more of the same. This creates more scenarios for you, get what you don't want, so to say. The third one is impatience. You can't just relax and do the things because of the joy of doing them. You have to constantly check if whatever you want has already shown up. And this is, again, a focus on, it's not there yet, a focus of, I don't really believe that it's going to happen, and I'm only doing what are the practices I'm doing in order to. Third one. And the fourth one is efforting. Putting hard work in everything is like the opposite of an open state of receiving, of allowing, of letting that in what you desire. So that's it for today. I had lots of fun. I hope you too. And as per usual, you can reach out to me. You can book an initial call with me where we go a little bit deeper into what is holding you back and what needs to shift, and obviously how I can support you with that. If you're interested in talking to me personally, then you can find the link to that, to my little Mindset Catalyst call in the show notes. If you have to add anything to the conversation, you can do this on social media where I post about the podcast, or you send me a personal email with your thoughts. And also, obviously, if you want me to talk about a specific topic, make sure to send me a message about this if you want this. Other than that, have an amazing, amazing day and speak to you very soon. Much love to you. Did you like this podcast episode? Then I would be super, super grateful if you gave me a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Super helpful. And please subscribe to the podcast and share it with people who you know can benefit from it. You can find all links to my social media profiles, my website, and contact form in the show notes. And whenever you're ready to take a next step, and that means you want to live a life of more on all levels, then send me a message with where you want to go and what is keeping you where you are, like what keeps you stuck at the moment. And then I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for listening, and until the next episode, much love to you, Lydia.